The chip crisis is helping automakers and dealers do something they've wanted to do for decades: quit offering incentives and deals. So basically, the 3 bullet points here: with few new vehicles to sell, car companies are getting more money for the ones they make. A consultant told Bloomberg that U.S. automakers are receiving up to $10,000 more on trucks and SUVs. Ford CEO previously said the pricing power is quote unquote, breathtaking and changing production strategy. So I'll link this down below, but effectively, it goes back to the basics of supply and demand, right? If there's a lack of supply and there's still a pretty high demand, pricing will go up to help stave off people, from them to just run out as soon as they come in stock. So, getting $10,000 more for a truck or a car. I mean, if it's for a business purpose or you really, really, really want or need said car, that's awesome for the dealership. Awesome for the automaker. But it helps. This is between the new cars and the used cars is a large part of why inflation percentages are so out of whack, is because of that new and used car market have absolutely spiked the amount of pricing for those vehicles, because there's only so many of them. They're only able to manufacture so many. They're only able, because of the parts, the chips, everything. If you're in a situation where you okay, we can only get so many of said part, and there's a story coming up next that you should totally listen to about the ports and the shipping crisis. If you're in that situation, being able to raise the prices is a luxury, right? Being able to be able to hey, we're not going to have to, we're not going to keep offering incentives, which I think that there's a market for each of those, right? When we're talking about a pickup truck that could be utilized on a job site, right? That's for a business expense. Adding an extra 10,000 probably not the end of the world to the end user, right? Because they need it. They need it to make money. Versus the person who just needs a car so that they could get back and forth to work or taking care of whatever obligations that they have. So, I think that this is a short-term thing. I don't think that they're going to ultimately be able to get rid of incentives forever, because there is competition, and because even if they start to reduce the amount of production, they will run up against their stockholders where they're like, hey, where's the revenue at? Where's the revenue coming from? Now, with that said, the automakers, I would not put it past them to artificially continue to make less vehicles going forward so that they could continue, when the chip crisis starts to subside, the shipping crisis, everything starts to get back to normal, and maybe another 6 months, probably more like a year to 2 years, them to sit back and say, well, we can get, an extra 10,000 for the car. Why not? Let's go. Let's just it isn't 20,000 anymore. It's 30,000 for a new car that used to cost 20,000 or 21,000. So, I could totally see there being anti-competitive lawsuits, antitrust lawsuits, that kind of thing. It's like, hey, you guys are not keeping up your end of the bargain here. It also, the other thing that it could do, though, is it could get people more inclined to pay the prices of electric vehicles. If we start talking about a 2, 3, maybe 4 year for this to get, for this to change back over to be, to start to smooth out and everything be fine. If it were to take that long, I could totally see them being like, well, now we have electric cars, and electric cars are more expensive, and that's just the way it is. And now we don't have gas, and so it very much could be the start of the change, the real changeover. Like, I know, GM said oh, we're gonna have all electric vehicles by 2030. Cool. I find it hard to believe considering that don't even have their own battery tech at this point. They're utilizing LG for their battery tech, and well, that's not going so well. So it's possible that this could just be the start of a higher price car industry in general. But they do still have to compete. So I don't know. I think it depends on how long the chip shortage lasts and how long supply constraints last. And the longer it lasts, the more likely these higher prices for cars are likely here to stay for the foreseeable future. I kind of hope that it's not. I like the idea of competition and hopefully not having to go through a bunch of investigations and things of that nature into them being anti-competitive with each other through manufacturing shortages that aren't really shortages.